Alrighty, welcome back to the Porch podcast. That was L.M.E. Let Me Eat by Mike Sarge on his album Hunger Pangs.
Isn't there supposed to be another period after the E?
Probably. I don't know.
Okay.
So yeah, man, True Strength Apparel. It's funny because I was thinking for the Who versus Who segment, we can title it something like the True Strength Challenge or something like that. I don't know. But, something like that. So anyway, he's got some new stickers and shirts on the website. And everything on the website now is he only profits $1.
Yeah, so everything's marked down. And some of the prices are kind of weird looking because of that. But
yeah, like this cup is like $12 total.
Yeah.
Which is pretty good for a specialized cup. So make sure you go and check out TrueStrengthApparel.com for all of that great stuff.
And he's still got all of his barbell stuff, which I particularly like. So
yeah, man.
Yeah. And his classic designs and some nice new colors.
I think we're getting a classic TS. I actually really like that.
Yeah.
So anyway, man. So this is our round 5 worst MCU films. The worst ones to us.
Okay, so we're not starting with the absolute worst. We're starting with the number 5 of our worst.
Yes.
So we'll end up with number 1 being the worst of.
No way.
This was a hard list to make.
See, that's
Hold
what
on.
I'm saying.
No.
That's what I'm telling you, man. That's what I'm telling you.
All right. Go ahead.
I don't know that we can have him back on the show, man. I'm telling you, bro.
Oh, y'all are hating on me already. Yes. I haven't even given my...
Bro, this is not even... that's got to be a typo.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
All right, go ahead, man. We'll let you lead off.
All right, so my number 5 was Hulk. Okay. The Incredible Hulk. It didn't come together right for me. The whole thing with Abomination and Edward Norton, I didn't really buy Edward Norton as a Bruce Banner type.
Okay.
And it just felt incomplete. Then I would say number 4 was...
we go around 5.
Yeah,
all right.
Then 5. And then...
we're going to skip your number 4, by the way.
All together. I was watching his number 4 today, and I was thinking, man, I'm going to put it back in when I get home. Oh, goodness. I don't know.
Okay, go ahead, number 5.
We'll hear him out. All right, my number 5 is Iron Man 2. I'm going to be honest with you. Out of all the MCU films, we're not talking like I absolutely hate this film as much as they just weren't as well done as they could have been, or they were kind of just, meh for whatever reasons. Maybe it's a character I don't care for. That's the way it was for me. So Iron Man 2, I still watch it, right? And I own it, but it just didn't work as well for me.
Iron Man doesn't have great villains. I'll say that.
Well, the origin film was good because it's the origin film. It's also sort of our first real launch into the MCU. But I felt like at least 3 kind of held its own a little bit more. In terms of a villain, though, he wasn't like super creepy bad guy kind of thing. But
Tomato 2.
No, in 3. But I love the storyline in 3 better.
Right.
And 2 was just kind of like, so his dad, did this guy wrong, and now the son is coming back getting revenge, whatever.
Yeah.
So that's why I made my list, and why it's at 5. So I can't be too harsh on it. But
yeah, it was alright for me. My number 5 was Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
And I kind of mentioned it a little bit earlier. To me, it was way too much of a force. Like, they completely cut any romance. And not that I'm a huge fan of romance.
I totally love that about
I'm a huge fan of
romance.
romance.
That is actually one of the pluses that I had for that movie.
But it was like they purposely kept it out. Like it was like they forcefully said, "Okay, we're not going to."
I think everybody's saying that though, just because they're trying to make it too much to be a woman thing.
I think she's going to be gay.
I think
that's why they cut any type of romance out.
I think she is too, but
completely dumbing down Fury like that, like you mentioned, to me was
which I didn't
kind
like.
of ridiculous.
Yeah.
What they did with the Skrulls was terrible. I mean, Skrulls are villains. They've always been villains, and yet they're like, no, but these are good Skrulls.
Yeah, I didn't understand that at all.
And they've said, Kevin Feige has said, we're going to see the evil Skrulls, that there's good and bad in all different.
But so I totally get that, and that's what I took from that movie is that it's kind of across the board. I mean, it doesn't matter, whether you're talking about humans So Terrans, we've got good Terrans and bad Terrans. So why not good Skrulls and bad Skrulls? Why do all the Skrulls have to be bad?
To start it off like that, to me was just bad.
I don't know. Anyway, go
the
ahead.
action wasn't that great to me. It was really slow. The film was extremely slow. The whole first hour to me was just boring.
Yes.
But it's an origin film.
It don't matter. It's still boring. Like Guardians was a fantastic origin film. Wasn't boring at all.
Yeah.
And so anyway, for me, it's just it was weak in a lot of areas. And
See, Guardians isn't a true origin, though.
it is a good origin story.
Well, no, it's a good story. It's not. It's not an origin story, though. It's an origin of the group of people.
So this is, and I tell people, like, people would ask me, do I need to see Captain Marvel before I see Endgame? I'm like, just know the woman who has absolutely zero weakness at all, period, is Captain Marvel. That's all you need to know. She has zero weakness that they've shown. Right. That's a problem.
But still got knocked
That's
out.
a problem. But, I mean, barely. But just in general, like now, when she can go binary, like, they haven't explained any type of weakness at all.
Right.
That's a problem. She didn't even really have a villain to go against. She didn't have a big bad.
Yeah, there's no kryptonite.
There's, like, to me, that's a problem. Like, every good superhero has a weakness and has a major villain. She had neither one of those in Captain Marvel or in Endgame. So that's my problem. Anyway.
But in Captain Marvel, she's still developing. She's still figuring out who she is.
It was still
and she's not really fully binary, so she doesn't really know that she has no weaknesses.
But when she,
and that's her weakness.
That's her introduction to binary. Like,
okay,
so that's like even at introduction to binary, she's like super duper pooper super charged. So with no villain, like, I don't know, man. I just didn't like it. I didn't like it.
Super charged.
So
all right, Jason. What's your number 4?
I love Wonder Woman. I didn't like Captain Marvel. Go ahead.
All right, number 4.
All right, so apparently I'm gonna meet some
yes,
criticism
you are.
with number 4.
No, you're not gonna meet criticism.
We might not let you talk after you actually.
Mine was Captain America: The Winter Soldier.
Why? Just.
Well, number one,
even when the words leave your mouth, it sounds wrong. It just sounds wrong. Somehow or another, I think that like the words that left your mouth were scrambled up, and you meant to say something else.
Well, first of all, I'm not a huge fan of Cap. I'm just not. So
I can understand that.
That was there, and the movie just didn't do it for me at all. It's like, okay, I could do without this movie.
Okay.
Like I said, this was a very hard list for me to make. You notice it's number 4, not higher up.
Okay.
So it was kind of a struggle whether I'm gonna do the Hulk or Cap as number 5.
Okay.
But I do believe that might be the only Captain. Yeah, that is the only Captain America on my list.
Yeah. And I can respect that you're not a big Cap fan. I think at least for me, it's like one of the best fight scenes in the MCU.
Yeah.
Period is in that movie.
2 of them actually.
Yeah. Okay.
Because the elevator scene was incredible too.
Yeah. But at least arguably the one on the ship is like the best.
Well, the one on land was good too. Their first fight scene. There's 3 fight scenes in that movie. That's just.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah.
And then you get Fury, which is like even him being entangled in it, and then.
Well, yeah, and you get that reference about how do you lose your eye? Well, I trusted somebody, and then anyway. Yeah, I don't know, man.
Okay,
I don't know how that makes your list.
Yeah,
okay, no, that's cool. But I respect you, bro. I respect
number
you.
4.
I respect you. All right, Thor.
Thor 1.
Yeah. It just wasn't that great of an origin film. Look, I watched it the other day. I still enjoyed watching it. Again, that's my perspective on this list is that it's not like I don't still watch these movies. It's just that it ranks somewhere in my least favorite, and I think because it wasn't as well done as it could have been. There are some good parts to it, some redeeming things, but I don't know. I had higher hopes for it. So.
Gotcha.
All right.
For me, Guardians 2. Guardians of the Galaxy is probably one of my top 3.
See,
I love Guardians 1.
And I would agree with you because to me, Guardians 2 is the origin film.
No.
It is because that's
2.
where we get to learn about Star-Lord.
There's no really good battle scene in Guardians 2, in my opinion. Like in Guardians 1, you had a ton of fight scenes.
Yeah.
Like Ronan was a really good villain. Like The main
Just
villain,
the end.
Ego, the living plant, like,
Yeah, it's just the end.
and that's just really weird. I'm not a fan of all the colors. Thor Ragnarok, that was one of my complaints, and I understand they're pulling from. I can't think of the guy's name. The guy who created the visual kind of stuff from Thor Ragnarok. They're pulling from him, and so with like Doctor Strange, with Guardians 2, Thor Ragnarok, they lean really heavy into those colors that they like to use. To me, that was a weak point in the film, and I could tell. Another problem for me too was whenever I can tell they do things in a film just for the 3D effect. To me, that's a weak point. This movie had a lot of them.
Watched any of the films in 3D with the exception of Doctor Strange.
Well, I haven't either. I haven't watched any of them in 3D, but I can tell it was made for 3D.
Okay.
And when you make a movie for 3D and you don't watch it in 3D, it's a problem.
Yeah.
I mean, the redeeming father thing. I mean, like, there's some good parts in it. Like Yondu. I was thinking of Von Rog or Rog. Anyway, so Yondu.
Yeah.
Great story in there.
Yeah. Very touching.
I was kind of really hoping you'd see. I don't know. The little baby group was okay.
Yeah.
It just wasn't my favorite.
Yeah.
I thought I'd like it more. I don't know, man. And
I think the fact that the first one ended with sort of like a cool baby Groot kind of thing.
yeah,
That you were kind of hoping for something to be able to one up that in the second one, and it didn't really deliver.
I don't know. I know. Chicken George said that's his favorite MCU film of all time because of the redeeming father thing.
See,
Yondu.
And I would say the Guardians 2 probably would have been number 6 or 7 for me on my list. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I still liked it better than the others on my list. And the redeeming father thing was good. You get to see the first real successful de-aging in that film, and I thought that was good. So in terms of special effects, I thought that was a positive. So I don't know. Guardians 2, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So number 3, Jason.
All right, so number 3 for me is Captain Marvel. Pretty much,
You men are just sexist. Man.
it's pretty much all the reasons that JB stated, but also I have to go into the whole what happened in Endgame. How she's supposed to be this all-powerful woman, and she basically just got mollywopped into the next solar system by Thanos. We got hit and didn't really see her again after that.
Right.
It's like, okay, what happened? Where'd you go?
And in a way, honestly, she should have been the answer
Yes.
to Endgame. Yeah.
Very much so.
And she's way too cocky. Like, I'm just going to go beat him myself. To me, that was like she has a Thor about her. That was somebody else pointed out. Early Thor is what Captain Marvel is now, or at least at that point. She's like, I'm big bad. I mean, I don't know.
I mean, that I don't mind that. I just wish they very much could have used her differently in Endgame. And like you said, there was no real villain for her in her own movie. There was nothing for her to. It's like, okay, you found out that you're human. You now unleashed your full power, but we don't actually get to see that full power. And it just felt like a big letdown going into Endgame. Like, okay, now we're really going to get to see what she can do. And there she goes. What happened?
And I agree with you on that part in terms of the transition. I think Jan Rog is a formidable opponent in terms of having an antagonist in the story, and so I felt like that was reasonable enough for an origin story. But you're right. The way that they leave it is that you expect Endgame to like, all right now, she's going to step up, and then she doesn't really. And in fact, even the trailer gives you that impression that wow, we're going to get some Captain Marvel in this movie, and then you don't.
I was glad we didn't.
Well, okay.